Helen here. Today I'm going to be making a couple of cards for a shop and online store that I am a design team member of in Australia called Fat Cat's Card Corner. She sent me the Lee Abilities couple die, so I'm going to make 2 cards with that. I'm going to be using lots of scrap pieces of card up today. I'm going to start off by cutting out one set of the couple out of black card and put that aside. That's going to be used for my second card. The first card I'm going to be paper piecing, so I'm going to cut out one full set with white card. I'm going to cut out the lady in red, the man in black, just the skirt portion of the lady in a beige colour, and the trousers portion of the man in grey card. To start off, I'm going to colour the faces, hands on both figures with some Altenew Perfect Peach ink and just an old makeup brush. On the man, just be careful not to colour in the white cuffs that are going to poke out under his jacket. I'm then going to get some Altenew dark chocolate ink and just put a hint of hair just under their hats on both the man and the lady. Once that's done, I'm ready to start cutting. I'm going to cut the V-neck part out on the lady's jacket or top or whatever it is. Just following where the line's embossed, you can see where the end of one garment finishes and the other begins. Cut out the hat portion on the lady's head. And then both the shoes, leaving a little bit of ankle to show on one leg. I'm going to be using Cosmic Shimmer glue, which is a wonderful glue with a really fine nozzle, and it dries completely clear and matte. So I'm going to use that to glue the pieces onto the base layer. The next piece is the beige skirt. I'm going to just cut off the top part of that and around where the shoes are following the shape of the skirt. Glue that on, and then the red jacket and hat on top. To do the male figure, I'm going to cut the trousers out of the grey die cut. I'm going to cut the shoes, the jacket and the hat out of the black die cut, making sure that I trim the jacket back far enough to expose the white cuffs and collar. I'll then glue them onto the white base layer, first the grey trousers and then tuck the black shoes underneath that, the jacket and the hat. I went back and just touched up the hand of the male figure because I hadn't done the inking quite far enough in with the Peach Perfect ink. We now finished the paper piecing and I'm ready to start making the card. I'm going to cut out a piece of gold mirror board with the Radiant Rectangle's 2 outer die pieces, and then I'm going to cut the next piece in on the set out with the white card. That's where my figures are going to sit. So once I've cut them with my die cutting machine, I can stick the white piece onto the gold mirror board with some double-sided tape. Another layer on my card, I'm going to use some pearlized damask gold paper that I got as a specialty pack in one of the craft sections of a department store here. It's really pretty paper. I'm going to cut it just slightly bigger than the Radiant Rectangle and then mount it on gold mirror card as well. I stuck the Radiant Rectangle panel down onto the damask part and then made a card base that was just slightly bigger than the damask portion. Before I stick my panel down, I'm going to put some white seam binding along the base of the panel, sticking it down on the back with some tape runner and then attaching it to my card base. Once that base is ready, I can then put my couple onto the white panel in the centre. So I glued them on. I put on a bow that I'd made with the seam binding onto the strip at the bottom, and then I decided the lady needed a little bit more detail. In her jacket there's some little white dots that's been embossed, so I decided to use a Sakura Stardust gel pen and just went over those dots along the middle part of the jacket, around the hat, and then a little bit around the bottom of the skirt just to tie them all in. Finally I went back and added a heart pearl embellishment to put on the middle of the bow. That's the first card finished. For my second card I'm going to use the black die cuts that I cut out originally. I'm also going to use a Sue Wilson embossing folder called Victorian Tiles. I'm going to emboss one piece in white and then I'm going to make a panel with black and white using an ink technique. To do this, I find the smoother side of my embossing folder and I'm going to ink it up with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. Now you have to work quite quickly with this, so put the ink down, put a piece of card, fold the folder over the card, and then without moving it too much, move it to your embossing machine and emboss it through. Once it's been embossed, you need to take the card out of the embossing folder pretty quickly and get some embossing powder onto it. You also need to wash your folder very quickly, otherwise it will stain your folder. Once you've got the embossing powder onto it, I've just used clear embossing powder, you need to then set it with your heat tool. You get a pretty amazing design. It's quite cool. So once I'd made that, I trimmed it down to a strip panel, which I then matted with black card. It's just slightly smaller than my card base, which is 5 by 7 inch. I also made a panel with the white embossed card that was just slightly bigger than my couple, and then matted that in black as well. Before I stuck that down, I glued a strip of satin black ribbon round the very edge of that panel with tape runner on the back, and then stuck that down onto my card. Once that panel was glued down, I glued my black die cut couple out onto that panel, and then I glued a bow that I'd made with the satin ribbon onto the strip. This time I stuck them down with some glue dots. I didn't have any black beads or pearls, so I ended up colouring some cream pearl, flatback pearls with a black Sharpie pen. It's very easy to do, and it does become permanent once it's dry. So I stuck a trio of those on the top of the card. And finally I put my sentiment down the bottom, Best Wishes, which is an Elizabeth Crafts die set. So that's the second card complete. Thank you for sticking with me. It was a very long video, so I appreciate your patience. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you. Bye for now.